Niagara Falls.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm glad we're discussing Lyme disease here in the House today, because I think this is a major issue in our province. We've seen a rising number of ticks here in Ontario, ticks which are carrying Lyme disease. In 2009, there were only 10 areas confirmed to have infection. Today, there are 22 known areas. Since national reporting began in 2009, Ontario has had more than half of the country's reported cases. When someone gets bit, they may see some initial symptoms, things like red rash, get a fever, or get sick. Some may never see symptoms at all. According to Public Health Agency of Canada, when someone is bit by a tick and believe they have Lyme disease, the agency states they should see a health care provider right away if you develop symptoms of Lyme disease in weeks after a tick get bite. But what happens when the doctor won't diagnose you Lyme disease, or when the Canadian test comes back negative? And this is a huge issue. Speaker, you see, this is a major problem. The symptoms of Lyme disease can look at a lot of other diseases. People are being misdiagnosed. In my office, I've spoken with people who are treated for MS, fever, brain tissue damage, all of which were misdiagnosed Lyme disease. This is still an emerging disease. There's a lot of information available to doctors out there about Lyme disease. The problem is, it leaves the people of Ontario holding the bill. Those who contact Lyme disease get sick. They stay sick. They have constant fever. Processing thoughts become hard. They feel tired all the time. In a number of cases, they come down with depression. In a number of cases, they come down with depression. Functioning in their day-to-day lives become almost impossible. They start to lose weight. Their overall health dramatically declines. Look at the case of Amanda Wilson from Fort Erie, my riding. I know I mentioned this recently, but it's worth mentioning again. Mr. Speaker, she works for the Border Security Services, and a few weeks back I went to a fundraiser for her. I mentioned it then, and I'll mention it again. I was blown away by the purpose of this fundraiser. Amanda had contacted Lyme disease. She lived in Fort Erie, yet every week she drives to New York State and pays out of pocket for her treatment. She can literally see her home across the river, yet she has to pay an American doctor for treatment. I'm happy to say that the fundraiser was packed. Her friends from the Border Security all came out, and the community rallied around her and donated to her fellow co-worker to help her fight the disease. Fort Erie is a great community, Mr. Speaker, a community that takes care of its own, but they shouldn't have to. Amanda is a talented and smart young woman who should have the support of this province. So should everyone else that contacts Lyme disease in Ontario. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to say here that the Health Minister did approach me on this case, and I thanked him very much for that. Amanda was thrilled to know that someone was finally interested in what is happening to her. For a long time, people have been ignoring Amanda or unable to help. The only problem is, this doesn't only affect Amanda. I'd like the rest of my colleagues to listen to this. Just today, I spoke with another constituent who has a bill right now totaling $50,000 for a treatment he has received in Florida. He pays $3,000 a week in medical bills, plus what it costs to live down there. He has to leave his family and his friends and his job just to try and get treatment so he can function in his daily life. He told my office that last year of his life has been wasted trying to find a diagnosis for this disease. Think about that. He couldn't get one here in Canada and Ontario. Now he flies to Florida to receive treatment for Lyme disease. Mr. Speaker, what's even more troubling is that when we contacted him, he already knew. When I talked to him today, he already knew of 3 other people in Niagara Falls, the city of Niagara Falls, who have Lyme disease and are getting treatment in New York State. These are people who are being bankrupt by these treatments. Just think about the pain they must go through if they're willing to spend their entire life savings to go into debt just to get treatment. I thought we came to the conclusion a long time ago that no one in the province of Ontario should have to choose between good health and poverty. These are employed people too, people with good jobs. Imagine what it'd be like to be on social assistance or be unemployed with Lyme disease. You'll never be able to go and get treatment. I have no doubt in my mind that of people I've spoken with so far coming to my office, there are people living below the poverty line with the disease who can't afford to get treatment. When you have the symptoms of Lyme disease, you can expect to spend weeks, if not months, in and out of the hospital, trying to figure out what is wrong with you. Our medical testing is falling behind. It's frustrating. Already sick people. The only reason people keep coming back to the doctor instead of giving up is because how hard it is to live with the disease. These are people living in Ontario who need medical help. Thank you very much, Speaker.